You know, last week people were getting pretty upset at me in the comments because I said that Tiana's Bayou Adventure is actually a pretty good ride. So I figured, why not even it out? Why not even the scales this week? We're going to be talking about how Epcot is not doing too hot, especially in the front right now, because goodness gracious, I just got back from Walt Disney World and I had the opportunity to visit obviously all four parks, because I'm not going to leave out Hollywood Studios no matter how small and empty that park seems. Sorry, Hollywood Studios fans, got a little sidetracked there for a second. I visited the newly finished Epcot. That's right, the entirety of Epcot, except for Test Track, is completely open and ready for guests to experience. And I got to see, as part of that visit, Communicore Hall. And let me tell you, when I made the video earlier this year about how Communicore Hall could be better when a festival hits, I guess I could just wrap this video up now by saying that no, it's not better. Communicore Hall is a disappointment to me, personally. So, if you thought I was being too easy, too positive on Disney last week or earlier this week, don't worry, I'm about to complain for the better part of 10 to 15 minutes. I might be a bit of a crazy Epcot fan, okay? I might be a little bit wild for saying this, but Epcot is, yes, my favorite park at Walt Disney World, and I do believe that 85 to 90% of new Epcot is done very, very well. I love the new entrance. The fountain is beautiful, if a bit rusted, and World Celebration Gardens is really interesting and neat to walk through at night, especially when it's lit up. Don't pass up walking through World Celebration Gardens at night. Now, would I have preferred what was announced at D23 Expo 2019 with the awesome looking festival center and whatever this thing is in the front of the park? That looks insane. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that most people looking at these pieces of art would prefer this, but that's not what we got. And while that is disappointing, I'm not gonna judge what we have now based on what we were told we would get in 2019 before COVID and, JPEG. So yeah, right off the bat, I want to say that yes, this is better than this, but I'm going to judge this based on how much I like it, if that makes sense. I'm a simple man, I like Epcot, I will rate Epcot on how I like it. Now keep in mind, this isn't like a new Epcot review. I've talked ad nauseum about new Epcot before and how much I actually do like it. Cosmic Rewind is great. Moana the Journey of Water is a ride that I think Walt Disney would have built at Disneyland. It's that good. It's educational, it's Disney, it's fun, it's a walk-through attraction. Journey of Water is probably my favorite part of new Epcot. This is going to be more of a World Celebration Gardens and Communicore Hall video, because that is the part of the park that took 7+ years to build, and that's what I think bears talking about, because it changed the most out of anything previously that we've talked about. The whole middle of the park changed. Now, of course, as I've made perfectly clear on this channel before, I think World Celebration Gardens is great, although it needs a water feature. That middle planter right, behind Spaceship Earth in front of the Walt Disney statue is really just begging, screaming in my eyes to be a fountain. It's just a planter though. It needs kinetic energy of some sort. And I say that a lot on this channel recently, but it's true. Kinetic energy is so important. It gives the park a sense that the whole area is alive in some sort of way. Lands like Fantasyland or Tomorrowland at Disneyland or Disney World, let me be clear, they both do it really well, are good examples of having that kinetic energy. You have the mine train going up the hill and around the bends. You have the carousel. Over in Tomorrowland with the People Mover and the Astro Orbiter and Tron Light Cycle Run. And at Disneyland, you got the monorail and the submarines. It's great. Kinetic energy, I would argue, is essential for a theme park land. Star Wars Galaxy's Edge doesn't really do it well. And recently, it seems like Disney's sort of been pulling away from that a little bit. Toontown at Disneyland is sort of a step in the right direction. Not as much kinetic energy as I would like, but there are things happening. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? There's a fountain. Fountain looks good. World Celebration Gardens has a distinct lack of kinetic energy. No water feature, no attractions moving in or out, no vehicles like they have on Main Street. There used to be a water feature there with the Fountain of Nations. That, of course, was removed, and I think that was a bit of a misstep. I think the Fountain of Nations, looking back on it, should have stayed. Let's be real here. They could have added to it in a similar way that they added to Spaceship Earth. They didn't take Spaceship Earth away, they didn't tear it down, they just added to it with the points of light, and now it looks even better at night than it ever has before. They could have added something to the Fountain of Nations, a lighting package, a nighttime little mini show, something to make it newer, to make it fit in with this new vision of Epcot, but instead they tore it out, and we got a planter instead. That was a bad idea. See? Told you I was gonna be mean. Why'd they get rid of the Fountain of Nations? It was so cool. Now, if you frequent the Offhand Disney YouTube channel, what I've said so far should sound sort of familiar to you. I've said that before, that the middle of World Celebration Gardens, needs a little bit more. What I haven't talked about yet, though, is Communicore Hall. I have made a sort of video on it discussing first impressions and what I think it could be in the future, and now that I've visited it and seen it during a festival, I can honestly say that this is bad. This is not good. I should clarify, the Communicore Hall specific area of Communicore Hall, it sounds a bit weird. The Mickey and Friends area, fine. The Encanto show and the stage that they have at Communicore Hall, also fine. I think people were really overreacting when they saw the Encanto show, saying that it was bad and saying that it's a waste of space. I really don't think so. I think entertainment is very important, especially at parks like Magic Kingdom, Disneyland, and now Epcot. However, the doctor's office that is Communicore Hall has not gotten any better, and I visited during the Food and Wine Festival. Here is the concept art that Disney gave us, reflecting what Communicore Hall would look like during a festival. This is post-budget cut, keep in mind, and here is what it actually looks like during a festival. This is a huge, huge swing and a miss. You see, here on the Offhand Disney channel, I say it's very important to praise Disney when they get things right. It's also really important to critique Disney when they get things wrong. They got Communicore Hall wrong. They've gotten a lot of things right recently. Cosmic Rewind, New Toontown at Disneyland. As I mentioned earlier, Moana Journey of Water, they absolutely got all of those right. They did not get Communicore Hall right. Now, I went into this long, sort of curving, harshly lit room trying to give Disney the benefit of the doubt. It's sort of a festival center. It has a food and wine station there, macatizers. You can grab yourself some mac and cheese and some merchandise, and then tables. That's it. Not much for a festival center, but let's be honest here, the festival centers in the past have sort of offered the same thing. What Communicore Hall is not is this. This is displays pertaining to the festival. I believe this one would be arts specifically, since all of the Figment representation, he's the mascot of the Festival of the Arts, but there's no cooking classes like they used to have for Food and Wine. There's no presentations. There's not a lot to do in here besides sit down, get some mac and cheese, and maybe browse the merchandise. That's it. That is a bad excuse for a festival center. And I would even go out on a limb here, figurative, and say that Innoventions was better than Communicore Hall. Does anybody remember the Light Lab at Innoventions? That is what we should be getting with Communicore Hall. Light Lab was awesome with the black lights and the neon colored drinks and costumes that the cast members wore, the glowing donut that you could buy that maybe was radioactive. I still haven't figured that out yet. We need more places like Light Lab in Communicore Hall. Light Lab was in Innoventions. They ripped the whole building down, realized, wait a second, we need something to go here, and built an entirely new building. It's kind of baffling they made that choice. I would compare Communicore Hall to what we just got outside of the ESPN zone at Downtown Disney at Disneyland. It's an outdoor space with a little bit of mid-century modern flair, with some shops opening up soon around it, and a green area for people to relax. That's what the outside of Communicore Hall is like. The inside is, like I said earlier, essentially just a doctor's office slash food court, but the problem here is that Downtown Disney is always sort of lightly themed. Previously plants, and now more so mid-century modern. Theming for Downtown Disney, and Disney Springs for that matter, sort of falls into the background. It's still there, it's still present, and it still looks really good, but it's not the forefront of what's being presented to you. It's the shops and the dining and the fun. The problem is that Communicore Hall, unlike that new area at Downtown Disney, is inside a park. I don't know what the style Disney was going for was, whether it was mid-century modern, retro-futurist, or just, I guess, architecture chic. It doesn't work, though. It doesn't fit in with the rest of Epcot. Even the other side of World Celebration, what was formerly Innoventions East, now Connections and Creations and Club Cool, that was built within the existing Communicore / Innoventions building, so the visual language between the two sides of World Celebration doesn't even match up. It seems sloppy to me. I don't think anywhere else in a Disney park is so visually apparent that they ran out of money than Communicore Hall. And the worst part about all of this is they didn't even have to run out of money. They could have allocated more money to the construction of either Communicore Hall or just World Celebration in general. We know Disney has the money. We know they have the creatives too. Imagineers love Epcot. They love classic Epcot. They could have done something better if they were given the right tools. They weren't. That's the problem. It took them 5 years to build this. 5 years. They absolutely could have done better. And now I'm going to raise another question to you, my viewers. Is this supposed to sustain Future World or World Celebration for the next 30 years? I don't think it can, and I don't think it should. But what's the solution? They just had it closed down for 5 years. You can't close it down, tear it all down again, and then build something new a month after it opens. What's the solution here? I mean, I'm sure if they wanted to, they could gut the inside of Communicore Hall, make it a bit more Disney, make it a bit more magical. I don't foresee them tearing down the entire structure though, because like I said, it took them so long to build it. I just don't like how it doesn't really match the rest of Epcot. It only really matches itself, if that makes sense. There's no visual continuity between the Spaceship Earth post-show building, Creations and Connections, and now Communicore Hall. It's just a little nitpick of mine, I guess. I guess my main problem here with Communicore Hall is this took Disney so long to build, and now that it's open, kind of wish we had the old thing back. If they wanted to, they could have completely gutted the inside of Innoventions. If they wanted to, they could have made it better, but they didn't want to. They wanted to do something completely different, and then halfway through the project, budgets were slashed and deadlines were shortened. I think the inside of Innoventions could have used a facelift, absolutely. Just a fresh coat of paint on the outside, some new signage like you would find on the other side of World Celebration, you've got yourself a deal. But now either we wait for Disney to announce a renovation, a retheming of the inside of Communicore Hall, or we wait 30 more years for them to do something completely new in the former Future World, and I honestly think it's going to be the second one here. We've sort of established over the past couple of years that Disney is going park by park, one at a time, in a sort of cycle, making these big, broad, sweeping changes. We had New Fantasyland back in the day, then we got Pandora, the World of Avatar, then Star Wars Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios, then we got new Epcot, and now Disney is moving back to the Magic Kingdom for the Weird Frontierland expansion and Beyond Big Thunder Mountain with the Villains Land, and half of that looks really, really good. So if we do follow the cycle, which by the way, the cycle is no guarantee. They can do the parks in whatever orders they want to. We're gonna get an Animal Kingdom expansion, and then a Hollywood Studios expansion, and then maybe they'll pass over Epcot, once again changing things, and that's gonna be about 10, 12, 15 years from now. So I guess I'll see you in 2039 for the offhand Disney episode about new Epcot being finally completed and how it's not as good as new Epcot, which wasn't as good as just Epcot. But you know, we'll see. We'll see. The future remains to be seen. But what I do know now is that Communicore Hall falls short, and it's very disappointing. I don't want anybody to take this video as me just doing nothing but complaining about new Epcot, because as I've said many times during this video, there are aspects that I absolutely love. Again, let's go back to Moana Journey of Water. That's a classic. Have I talked enough about that yet? I just think that they could have done better in certain parts. Other parts, great, fantastic, fine, wonderful Disney additions. I haven't even talked in this video about Connections Cafe or the Creations Shop. I actually think they're fine. I think Connections has a great menu. The Starbucks is wonderful. The model of Epcot on the floor, come on, that's really cool. And Creations is more modern for sure than Mouse Gear, but Mouse Gear was starting to show its age there toward the end. I think a nice little compromise between the two would have been better, but I don't hate Creations. I think it's great. And I would never, ever dare speak ill of Club Cool. Club Cool has always been perfect, will always be perfect, and it is always my first stop when I go to Epcot because Club Cool is the best attraction, second best attraction at Epcot. Try the Beverly. But now that I've ranted and raged for about 14 minutes, I am going to turn the question over to you, the viewer, or viewers, if you're watching with your friends or family. Hey everybody, what are your thoughts on World Celebration? Not World Discovery with, Guardians, not the World Showcase, not World Nature, because everyone knows Living with the Land is in World Nature and that's perfect. What are your specific thoughts on World Celebration Gardens, Creations, Connections, and Communicore Hall specifically? Even I throw Moana in there as well. I'd love to hear what what you all think down in the comments below, because like I said, it's not all bad, but it's certainly not all good. It's a mixed bag. But those are basically my thoughts on what I experienced on my trip to Walt Disney World recently, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, and now the complete Epcot, formerly Epcot Center. Although I can't help but shake the feeling that there's something I forgot. Maybe it's because I didn't spend a whole lot of time at Animal Kingdom because it was super, super hot, but I feel like I forgot to document something important. Something really important. That'll probably come to me. Everybody, thank you for watching. I am going to go to the end card here and not going to look behind me because I don't want to know what's back there. Believe me, I don't really want to know. You all just shout it at your screens and I'll maybe hear it in the end card. I'm sure I'll remember. Hello everybody, welcome to the end card. I hope you enjoyed this video. Talking some good, talking some bad about Epcot. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to hit the like button. And if you're new around here and you want more videos like this covering the cutting edge of Disney openings, announcements, rumors, history, etc., hit the subscribe button. The names that you see scrolling on your screen right now are those of my supporters over at patreon.com/offhanddisney. They get early access to videos, exclusive access to a few videos, all for just $1 or more if you so choose a month. If you want to join their ranks and get your names in the credits at the end of every video, at the end of every month, please head over there. There will be a link in the description down below. It really helps the channel and it helps me keep doing what I'm doing, and I really, really appreciate all of you. However, if you would rather follow me for free on other social media sites, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, I am at Offhand Disney on all of those websites. Just makes it a bit easier, I should say, for you to find me. Other than that, though, I really am curious to hear everybody's opinions on Communicore Hall, because it is widely panned as I'm browsing the internet here, looking at people's opinions. But I mean, it does what they built it to do, just in a very lame way, if that makes sense. Everybody, that is my final thought on Communicore Hall. Thank you all so much for watching. I look forward to having some discussions down in the comments below, and I will see you all next week. Goodbye.